So today's notes are about eclipses. First thing I'm going to do is set up our notes. Your title is Eclipses. Make sure you write your essential questions underneath the title. Your main notes go in the big section you made right here. Your questions that help you review the notes or study the notes go over in this left column. And your summary goes down at the bottom, and make sure you skip about 5 or 6 lines. Our two essential questions for today are: what is an eclipse and what causes solar and lunar eclipses? So what is an eclipse? An eclipse happens when an object in space comes between the sun and a third object in space, casting a shadow. So an eclipse will occur when the moon's shadow hits Earth, or when the Earth's shadow hits the moon. And those are two different types of eclipses. There's solar and there's lunar. So our first type is the solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, and this blocks sunlight to the Earth due to the moon's shadow. Remember, solar eclipse equals moon between Earth and sun. The darkest part of the shadow is called the umbra, and it's usually the smaller part. The larger part of the shadow is called the penumbra. So if we see here, we have a diagram of a solar eclipse. So when you're in the umbra, which is this smaller part here, it's a total solar eclipse. So the sun is totally blocked. And you'll notice that it's this really tiny spot right here. That's going to be important in a second. When you're in the penumbra, it's called a partial solar eclipse. So only part of the sun gets blocked. That's the one you're not supposed to look at. You're not supposed to look at either of them, but the partial solar eclipse is the one you're really not supposed to look at. And we talked about why in class last week. A lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth is directly between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on the moon. This only happens when there's a full moon. So when the moon is in the Earth's umbra, it's called a total lunar eclipse. When the moon's in the Earth's penumbra, it's a partial lunar eclipse. Same concept as the solar eclipse. A total one, the whole moon gets blocked out. That's like the one we had in September, the blood moon. That was a total lunar eclipse. And when the moon is in the Earth's penumbra, it's a partial lunar eclipse. So only part of the moon gets blocked. So if we look at this diagram, you'll notice that the umbra of the Earth is a lot bigger. And the penumbra is also a lot bigger. That's obviously because the Earth is a lot bigger than the moon. So chances are we're going to see a total lunar eclipse more often because that shadow is bigger. So why don't we get eclipses all the time? Well, the moon's orbit around Earth is tilted, which means it doesn't orbit on a single plane. It's kind of this way, tilted. So as a result, the full moon is usually above or below the Earth's plane of orbit. So we'll see it up here in this area, or the full moon is actually here. This is a full moon for this side of the Earth, or it's down here. As a result, if you think about it, the moon and the Earth won't always line up, but there will be points like one here or one here where they will, and there's a full moon. That's when you get your eclipse. So for your questions in your summary, you're going to write 3 questions that will help you review the notes. Remember, we don't want any what questions. You want to use words like describe, explain, compare, or other words like that. And you're going to write a 4 to 5 sentence summary that answers the essential questions for this screencast. And that's it.